Welcome back to Crime Scene 24/7. And if you're new here, subscribe now so you never miss stories the media won't fully tell. A pediatrician, a vacation, a 4-year-old daughter found submerged in a pool. Police called it a tragic drowning, but investigators say the child's lungs were dry. The autopsy revealed bruising in her cheeks, cuts inside her mouth. Evidence of suffocation. Surveillance cameras captured the moments before the tragedy, and body cam footage later showed the doctor refusing to surrender. But the real mystery lies in a mobile phone. In that device, detectives discovered messages that turned this heartbreaking case into something more. Who was Dr. Neha Gupta really? And why did little Arya Talathi end up underwater when she could not swim? What detectives uncovered next would flip everything they thought they knew. August 24, 2024, Scottsdale, Arizona. It was supposed to be a quiet family getaway. Dr. Neha Gupta, a respected pediatrician, had rented a luxury vacation home with a private pool. Neighbors recalled seeing her and her 4-year-old daughter, Arya Talathi, playing outside that afternoon. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but just before 6 p.m., frantic 911 calls flooded dispatch. "A child isn't breathing! Hurry!" one voice cried. Body cam footage later showed paramedics rushing through the back gate as Dr. Gupta knelt beside Arya's tiny body. The child's skin was pale, her lips were blue. Dr. Gupta claimed she'd only stepped inside for a moment, and when she returned, Arya was floating face down. Yet something about the scene immediately unsettled first responders. There was almost no water in the child's lungs, and paramedics noticed faint red marks on her cheeks, too symmetrical to be from CPR. Eyewitnesses described the chaos that followed. "She wasn't crying, she wasn't screaming," one neighbor recalled, just standing there staring at the pool while the medics worked. Within minutes, the backyard was sealed off with crime scene tape. Detectives canvassed the property, collecting pool water samples, swabs from the patio railing, and footage from neighboring security cameras. But one detail stood out above the rest. Arya's favorite floaty, a pink unicorn ring, was neatly placed on a lounge chair, bone dry. And when investigators reviewed the surveillance footage from the house next door, they realized Dr. Gupta's timeline didn't add up. Detectives with the Scottsdale Police Department immediately sensed that something was off. The evidence at the scene didn't match Dr. Neha Gupta's version of events. She had told investigators she'd left Arya unattended for less than 2 minutes while retrieving snacks from the kitchen. But surveillance footage from a neighbor's Ring doorbell camera revealed a troubling detail. Gupta had been away from the pool for nearly 12 minutes, far too long for a drowning to go unnoticed. The footage showed Arya playing alone by the water, then abruptly vanishing from view. Moments later, Gupta appeared on camera, walking calmly, not running, toward the pool. There was no visible panic, no frantic call for help. It wasn't until another 2 minutes passed that she was seen dialing 911. Forensics added another layer of suspicion. The medical examiner found no significant water in Arya's lungs, ruling out classic drowning. Instead, there were signs of asphyxiation, tiny, broken capillaries in her eyes and bruising along the neck, consistent with manual pressure. This wasn't a tragic accident, lead investigator Detective Carla Mendez later told reporters. This was something deliberate. Investigators combed through Gupta's phone and discovered a chilling trail of Google searches in the days before Arya's death. How long does it take a child to suffocate? Pool accidents that look natural. Child inheritance laws, Arizona. Even more disturbing was what they uncovered next. A recent life insurance policy worth $1.5 million had been taken out on Arya, with Gupta listed as the sole beneficiary. A search warrant for Gupta's home turned up handwritten notes about financial debts and emails to a private lender threatening legal action. One message, sent just a week before Arya's death, read, "I have no way out unless something drastic happens." But the most damning evidence came from a hidden nanny cam inside the rental home's living room. Though the camera did not capture the pool itself, it showed Gupta leading Arya outside, then returning alone 8 minutes later, calmly folding a towel before dialing 911. But when detectives traced a series of deleted text messages between Gupta and a mysterious contact named S, they uncovered a motive far darker than money, and it turned the entire case upside down. On paper, Dr. Neha Gupta was everything you'd expect from a respected pediatrician. Ivy League educated, beloved by her patients, and known in Scottsdale's medical circles for her compassion. But beneath the polished exterior was a woman whose life was unraveling. Investigators pieced together a timeline that painted a chilling picture of her final months before Arya's death. Financial records showed Gupta was nearly $300,000 in debt, the result of failed investments, a luxury home mortgage, and a mounting malpractice lawsuit. Colleagues described her as distracted and emotionally volatile. One nurse recalled Gupta breaking down in tears during a routine patient checkup, muttering, "I'm losing everything." But the most disturbing revelations came from the digital forensics team. Hidden within a series of deleted WhatsApp messages was an ongoing conversation between Gupta and a man identified only as S. The two had met on a medical professionals forum 3 years earlier, and their relationship had escalated into a secret romantic affair. What began as flirtation quickly turned manipulative. S appeared to pressure Gupta about her financial situation, sending messages like, "You're too smart to be this broke." The policy covers accidents. Accidents happen. Then we can finally start our new life. Detectives soon discovered S was Stephen Harrow, a 42-year-old pharmaceutical consultant with a criminal history of fraud and insurance scams. Harrow had vanished months before Arya's death, but investigators believed he'd played a key role in planning the crime. Gupta's behavior in the weeks leading up to the tragedy also began to stand out. She abruptly stopped taking patients, telling her clinic she needed a mental reset. She liquidated small assets, stopped paying on certain debts, and even searched for one-way flights to South America. Friends noticed a shift too. One longtime colleague recalled a chilling comment made during a lunch break. "Sometimes you have to make painful sacrifices to secure a future." When confronted with the evidence, Gupta maintained her innocence. In a recorded interrogation, she sobbed, "I would never hurt my daughter. I loved her. This was a horrible accident." But investigators didn't believe her, and neither did the prosecutors, who soon charged her with first-degree murder, insurance fraud, and conspiracy. But as prosecutors prepared their case, a new twist surfaced, one that suggested Gupta may not have been the only one with something to gain from Arya's death. If you're drawn to real investigations, shocking revelations, and the untold truths behind the world's most chilling crimes, then this is your place. Subscribe to Crime Scene 24/7 and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a single update. Because here, every clue matters, every story counts, and the truth never sleeps. The arrest of Dr. Neha Gupta sent shockwaves far beyond Scottsdale. Overnight, the story of a once-celebrated pediatrician accused of killing her own child dominated every headline. News anchors called it the ultimate betrayal, while social media erupted with disbelief and outrage. Outside the Maricopa County Courthouse, angry crowds gathered with signs reading, "Justice for Arya," and "Doctors are supposed to save lives, not take them." Parents who had once trusted Gupta with their children's health now called for the maximum sentence. One mother tearfully told reporters, "She vaccinated my baby. She held my baby. And now I find out she's capable of this. It's horrifying." But inside the courtroom, things were far from straightforward. Prosecutors built a meticulous case, presenting hundreds of pages of text messages, bank records, and forensic evidence. They argued that Gupta and her lover, Stephen Harrow, had plotted to kill Arya for the $2.5 million life insurance policy, and that Harrow had coached her on how to stage the incident as an accident. The defense, however, painted a different picture. They claimed Gupta was a devoted mother suffering from depression and anxiety, manipulated by a predatory conman. They described Harrow as the puppet master who exploited her vulnerabilities and orchestrated everything from afar. The trial became a national spectacle. TV crews lined the streets. True crime podcasts dissected every detail. And as each witness took the stand, the story grew darker. A former friend testified that Gupta had spoken about a fresh start months before Arya's death. A forensic accountant revealed that she had increased the insurance coverage on her daughter just 6 weeks prior. Still, not everyone believed the state's version. Some viewers questioned whether Gupta was truly capable of murder, or if she had been coerced. Online forums buzzed with conspiracy theories, including one that suggested Harrow was part of a larger insurance fraud ring operating across multiple states. And then, just as the trial neared its climax, prosecutors dropped a bombshell. Stephen Harrow had been located. He was arrested in Costa Rica, living under a false identity, and he had with him documents that suggested the plan to kill Arya might have involved more people than anyone had imagined. But it was what Harrow revealed in his first interrogation that shocked even seasoned investigators and turned the entire case on its head. When federal agents finally sat across from Stephen Harrow in an interrogation room in San Jose, they expected deflection, denial, maybe silence. Instead, what they got was a confession that rewrote everything investigators thought they knew. Harrow admitted that the plan to kill 4-year-old Arya Gupta did not originate with Neha Gupta alone. According to his statement, it was part of a larger scheme, one he had been involved in for years. Harrow described himself as a facilitator for a shadowy network specializing in staged accidental deaths, collecting life insurance payouts, and laundering the proceeds overseas. He named 2 others, identities still sealed by the FBI, who allegedly pressured Gupta into participating. The agents were stunned. Harrow claimed these individuals had supplied him with sedatives, guided him on how to stage the scene, and even coached Gupta on what to say during emergency calls. The goal? To make the death look like a tragic household accident, not a calculated murder. Investigators were skeptical until digital forensics backed up key parts of Harrow's story. Hidden inside an encrypted messaging app on his phone were conversations detailing payout splits, timelines, and coded language referencing the patient. Those chats began months before Arya's death, proof that the plot was far more organized than anyone had realized. The revelation changed the case overnight. What had once appeared to be a story of a mother and her lover conspiring for money now looked like something larger, an orchestrated criminal operation that may have claimed more lives than just Arya's. But even more haunting was what Harrow said next. In a chilling statement, he told investigators, "Arya wasn't supposed to be the first, and she won't be the last." That sentence triggered a nationwide investigation into suspicious child deaths linked to life insurance claims, stretching across 3 states in 5 years. And as investigators followed those leads, they realized the story of Arya Gupta's death wasn't just a single tragedy. It was the first thread in a much darker tapestry still being unraveled. By the time the final arrest warrants were issued, the case of 4-year-old Arya Gupta had transformed from a single tragedy into a chilling portrait of greed, betrayal, and systemic failure. What began as an unthinkable act, a pediatrician conspiring in the death of a child he once swore to protect, evolved into a nationwide manhunt for a network that exploited life, death, and trust for profit. For Arya's family, justice came in fragments. Neha Gupta, her own mother, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Dr. Stephen Harrow, once a respected figure in pediatric care, faced multiple life sentences on charges ranging from first-degree murder to conspiracy and financial fraud. But even behind bars, the damage was irreversible. A child's future erased, a family torn apart, and a community left with questions no verdict could fully answer. The case ignited heated debates about the oversight of medical professionals, the loopholes in life insurance policies, and how online platforms enable criminal networks to thrive in the shadows. Pediatric associations across the country began reviewing thousands of past cases. Lawmakers called for stronger screening protocols. And parents, once trusting, now looked at their children's doctors with a mix of gratitude and fear. Through it all, one truth remained impossible to ignore. The people meant to protect Arya, from the healthcare system to law enforcement to her own family, failed her at every turn. Her story became more than just a headline. It became a mirror. a reflection of the uncomfortable reality that evil doesn't always wear a mask or lurk in dark alleys. Sometimes it sits across the exam table, sometimes it shares your dinner table, and sometimes it smiles and tells you everything will be okay, right before it takes everything away. And so the question lingers. Was this case the end of a long-hidden criminal enterprise, or just the beginning of one we've yet to uncover? Now we want to hear from you. Do you believe Dr. Stephen Harrow was truly the mastermind behind Arya's death, or was there someone else pulling the strings from the shadows? Could there be more victims, more cases that never made the headlines? Share your theory in the comments below. Your insight might be the missing piece investigators overlooked. And if you're new here, don't forget, this is Crime Scene 24/7, where we dig deeper than the headlines and expose the stories others are too afraid to tell. Subscribe now, turn on the notification bell, and join a community of over 100,000 truth seekers following the darkest real-life mysteries from around the world. Because here, the truth never sleeps.